And we'll get started in just a minute.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
While we're waiting here, let's actually discuss handles.
Handles are a good idea to discuss, yeah. So what are handles?
A handle is an angle. And any angle on the body, whether it's a natural or a created angle, is a handle that you can use to manipulate yourself or the opponent. And let me back up just a little bit. In a fight, there are three shapes. We have the square. We move on the square.
Yep.
And we can be on the two front corners of a square, like wrestlers. We can be on the two side corners of the square, like boxers or fencers. Or we can be on the front corner and the opposite back corner of the square. So we're more of a squared stance. And we'll see that more in MMA versus boxing.
Yeah.
Because they have to be able to throw jabs, the thrust, or kicks or hooks, which are the cuts. So we can call those the wrestler stance on the two front corners, the fencer stance on the two side corners, or we'll call it the sword fighter stance on the front and back corner. But every time you take a step, you end up on in one of those stances, and so we move on squares.
Yeah.
We attack on circles. A hook is a circle, but even a jab is a circle.
Because what you're doing is, if I'm up in a guard line here, of any form, when I begin that, I'm actually looping down, and then there's that kind of crescent circle movement there in that punch.
And it's a very shallow ellipse.
Yep.
As opposed to like a circle with a hook or an uppercut.
Or a cut of some sort, or any cut where we see that larger, broader circle motion.
Right. Yeah. And so we don't think of jabs or thrusts as being circles, but because of the physiology of our shoulder, they are.
It makes that happen.
And so, and this is, of course, a simplification. So we move on squares, we attack on circles, but we grapple on triangles. And the triangle is either something that's already there or something that you create. And if we're looking at a sword fight, as soon as our two swords cross, we just created that triangle. There's one below and one above. And the power of that triangle will be whoever has the longest leg. And that's how they can dominate it.
Okay, yeah.
But when we take this into grappling or knife fighting, there are also handles on the body. Tell us some of the handles on the body.
Some of the handles on the body we have is at the wrist, but because where we see a lot, we see that right here. And even if I put my thumb down, we can still see a shape here. We have the elbow, which we have a triangle here. We actually have a triangle right here. Your armpit, you have the triangle of your jaw, your nose, your forehead, and even the back of your head here, for just some examples that we can see right here.
Another one is the ear.
The ear is a very good one.
There's another one that doesn't get used a lot, but it can be, and that's the deltoid. If you slide out, if you put your hand on your arm and you just slide up, you can feel
how you kind of hit that stopping point.
And it's not that it necessarily just completely stops the opponent's action, though it can. But the deltoid is a handle that we can use to redirect. So
it's a handle we can personally use in the midst of the action there.
Right. So an example of this. If we're here and you are sliding up my arm and I do this, keep going. Just keep going. Because my arm is up, you slide right up. Go ahead and just go all the way up. It just goes up. But if I bend my elbow just slightly,
and the deltoid comes into play there.
You can see, let's get a little closer, how right there, go ahead, push up. It's locking. Now, push up. So just the act of doing that with my elbow, do that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas if my elbow is straighter,
you shoot right over that spot.
So when we do defensive actions, if we straighten out our arm, we create a ramp. Whereas if I bend my arm just a little bit, I create a handle.
And so there's where we were talking about an area of creating handles.
Yes.
To use.
Another handle, a triangle, is the thumb. Triangles occur at joints. If you're holding out, we're fighting, I've got a triangle right there. I've got a triangle right there. If we're both out here and he thinks about it faster than I do, he's got triangles on me that he can grab and manipulate. So a triangle or a handle is something that we can either utilize on our opponent or use ourselves. So we talked about this triangle right here. He's stabbing me. And if I stop it, I'm not going to stop it, he's going to go through. But if I slide down, I've now, let's switch sides.
Mm-hmm.
There's my handle. And then when he returns, now I've got my handle on his handle.
Which slows me down in my ability, or I have to do something else.
And that's the key. Having a handle does not mean I've frozen you in place. Mm-hmm. And it's important to understand that. I am not using a handle to stop you. I am using a handle to create time. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you do that again, you stab, I use that handle, I transfer to that handle, go ahead and push straight, no, just with that hand. Now I've got another handle. So he has to do something, go back, to remove that handle. And I shouldn't have done that, do that again. So stab me, and I cover, I return on that. He moves that handle. And now, he's created a handle in his hand by doing that, and there's our triangle, and hooking on my handle. And let's rotate this way this time. Mm-hmm. So move that hand. You can see how his finger is just below my thumb. Go ahead and pull me. No, go ahead and pull me. You feel how that kind of slides a little bit? Pull me, pull me, pull. Do that again. Pull me. Now, watch this. Lift up your index finger. Pull me. And it looks like magic. But if his fingers are down, he doesn't have a handle. There's no line.
I'm going to go really hard right now, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for you guys to see this.
Let's angle this way a little bit so I don't hit that chair. Do it again. Now lift up your finger.
And it's not a lot.
Do it again. I'm going to finger down.
Okay, ready?
And I'm braced. Go ahead. Now finger up just a little bit. And you can see how much that moves me because he had access to a handle. Now, do that again to lift up your finger just a little bit more. Now do it. And it's even stronger. So a handle is something that we can grab with or grab on. If we end up locked in and we're in this kind of position, now he's got his fingers wrapped around the back of my head. He's got the advantage, unless I use my handle. And now, his turn. I'm using my thumb handle on his skull handle. And again, that's not to say he can't get out of there. One of the most dangerous things we can do in any training scenario is train falsely. For instance, I go to stab my partner, and I stab like this. Don't do that. Nobody stabs like that. Nobody throws a punch. Go ahead and defend it. Mm-hmm. And leaves it there. Right? That's not the way a fight goes. So when we're training, you train slowly. Go and throw that punch again. Or I'm going to throw the punch, defend. Now, two handles. I've got my elbow handle on his elbow handle, and we're crossed here. So we've actually matched our handles. Let's do that again. Right? Now, who wins this?
Hmm?
Who wins?
Person who acts first right now.
Not the person who acts first. The person who thinks first.
Yes.
Because if we both end up here, and go ahead and do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
All right. Oh, okay, go. Because we're in here, he went for me. All right? Do it again. Go for me. It doesn't take a lot. There's another handle. Handles and you'll notice even when I'm grabbing here and I'm underneath, my index finger's up. I'm not doing this. Go ahead and pull your hand out. Do it again. Pull your hand out. Do it again. Just with my index finger up. Do it again. Pull. Hold it. Pull. What feels like should be less grip tends to be more grip, as long as you're using physiology to your advantage. And that's what a handle is. So once we have an understanding of our handle and my opponent's handles, I'm better able to use those in defense. And now we're going to move to knife. And my partner's going to have a knife, but I'm not. And he's going to give me a forehand thrust to the stomach. The first one's going to be not straight ahead, but coming in at the angle. And that's what he's stabbing. Let's switch sides. Now, once he puts it in, what are you going to do?
I'm going to pull it out and put it back in you again.
As many times as possible. And not just put it back in, he checks me and pushes me off balance, so it's easier to just keep operating like a sewing machine and in and out, in and out. I have to understand nobody's going to just do it once and be done. This is not a one and done situation. So he throws that attack and I cover there. Now, let's turn to the side. I'm using my arm. I have no handle here, but I'm using, rotate your hand this way. You see that bend right there in his wrist? I've got my arm on that handle. Go and do that again. There's that defense. But he's not dumb. He's not going to go, oh, well, I guess you won. He's going to hit me, check that, and then stick me again because the first one didn't work. So do that again. And then I get stabbed. Do it again. Just tut, tut, tut.
Got it.
And this is the way fights look. Right? And remember, this is not a duel. This is a fight, which means, you know, I'm walking along and whoa, that's what I got to worry about. One of the hardest concepts that I ever found to wrap my head around when I'm doing martial arts is that the safest place I can be is on top of my opponent. Because if I'm on top of my opponent, they don't have the space or the time to do another action. However, the problem with that is what?
Getting on top of them.
Well, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Homie has a knife. So he comes through, he jabs, he goes there, I do it again. But now I've got his elbow. No, stay there. See the slight bend in his elbow? Nobody's going to stab you at that full extension. They're always going to have that. And that means he has created a handle. I have a handle on the inside, which is very obvious, but I also have a handle on the outside. Now, not a handle to stop me going this way, but I do have a handle to take him that way. And I'm utilizing these handles. So grappling is about finding the triangle, where there are triangles, and utilizing those to your best advantage. So go ahead and do that again. Yeah, what did you want to say?
And one more piece to think about here, I'd just like to add, we're talking about grappling a lot. Knife is grappling. When you're in this way, using one of these, you are not dueling. It's not here. Knife is grappling with an edge. That's it. So looking at those two things, the same defenses can work in that area.
Hold on one second.
Sure.
Electrical.
Ah.
So we have to worry about the knife not just coming in, but going out and coming back in. And the best way you can do that is to remove the space. And that's why he's giving me that push. Do it again and go ahead and in and out. Because he's throwing me off balance so he can do it. Do it again. Now I've done a couple things here. Do it again. He does that. If I just try to use my arm, I'm going to get stabbed anyways. So this is this foot that turns. Do it again. And I only really need to turn this foot. So what I'm doing is I'm just, go ahead and do it again. No, stab me. Go ahead and hit me this time. Great, do it again. You can still hit me, but it's much more angled. Go ahead and stab me right there. Great, because you're trying to murder me. And the thing about this is not pokey pokey, this is murder. So I need to train for, he's just trying to go to the center of my mass. And if I have this line down the middle, he's either going straight for that line or he's going to just either side of that line to create as much damage and havoc as possible. I'm not going to move. You're going to make the hit.
Okay.
Cool. So I cover here. He checks. I don't have time to move my whole body in relation to his hand. And my hand is here, so as he goes, I just turn that hand. So now I'm using his elbow as a handle. You notice he's got that hand up already. He's already prepared. If I stay here, go ahead and do whatever you want to do. Now he's turned in and getting me in the back. He's already set himself up for it, right?
Yep.
Go and do that again. So there, check, cover. So now I step in and I grab. And look what I've done to his arm. Now I'm using another handle. I've got my shoulder in his armpit. Because now, can he still hit me with this knife? Yeah, stab me. Yeah, he can still do it. The problem is because I'm here and I'm pulling everything in, stab me. You all right?
Yep.
Now the handle I'm using now is the back of his skull. Let's switch because I don't have the hair. So I come through, he covers. I check, I go back.
All right.
I stab, check, go in. He's there. Now let's switch sides or rotate. Turn your toe a little bit more. There we go. Now he shoots the hole and comes up underneath. I can try to stab, but as I try to stab him, he turns that way and he just moves the target. And now it's not doing me so much good. And I get that very funny sounding voice. When you're doing these kinds of drills, if your partner sounds like they're on helium, you probably have a good neck hold. So be very, very careful. That's a good sign that it's time to let go. In our knife classes at DEMAS, once I've taken a knife away from my partner, I don't give him back. Because bad guys give it right back to you point first. So instead, I've taken the knife away from him, I drop it. Okay. Then he can figure out. Then I knee him in the face, kick him in the knee, whatever I want. So because he's smart, I just taken it away from him, open up space. Or, can we do that one more time?
Yep.
I've just taken the knife away from him. Now it's a fist fight. It's no longer a knife fight. I have a much greater chance of surviving this if I'm unable to run away in the first place. We've all seen those great videos of the military personnel. One pulls a knife and the other one just zips away, right? He pulls a knife. That's all we need. Get out.
It works.
I actually, for myself, I carry this, which is actually my card case from the business cards. Homie has a knife right here. Because he probably doesn't want me. He wants whatever money. Now he finds out that he doesn't get any money. He just gets my business cards.
Oh, man.
So I actually carry that just in case I ever get mugged. Take it. Because nothing is worth my life. if I'm unable to get away. Because again, this is not just a robbery, this is murder. I cover there, turn in, and then do your classic hip throw. In pugilism, sorry about that.
Nicely done.
In pugilism, we call that a cross buttocks throw, because that's what we're doing. We're throwing them across the buttocks. Let's switch sides. Do it again. There, check, cover. Then I need to step in. And at this point, not only am I stepping in and shoving his shoulder in, I'm pulling his head into his own arm. How much trouble does that cause for him?
Oh, lots.
Oh, do that again. And there's that throw. Now, you okay? Yep. If I go to throw this way, just walk into me. Okay. He has the advantage, and I walk right onto this knife. So it's not about just pulling him. This is not a muscle action. This is a structural action. Go ahead and just walk into me. You okay? By turning my feet and just doing what we call a volta stable, I do a couple things. I remove my body from his line of attack. I void the target. Secondly, I put an impediment in the way of his walking. In the first instance, when I just tried to pull him, he walked into my hip. And all of our structure is built from our hip. Go on guard for me. If I push his hip, I break his structure. Go and turn around. I've got him here and he's trying to do something. Go and throw me.
Okay.
Right, whatever. Okay, good. I check his hip. Go and throw me. So structure comes out of the hip. But what that means is if I leave my hip in his line of movement, he has the advantage. Right?
Yep.
So let's do that one more time. Cover, check, stab. So we get the full sequence. Do it again. Good. I don't like being stabbed. I go here. Step in. Stab me. Turn. Stab me. Cool. All right, don't stab me. Just walk into me. Walk into me. There it is. You can see how he's just busting my structure. Walk into me. There's my cross buttocks throw. The reason that's happening, tell them why that's happening.
Which part?
The burp.
The burp? So I explained this to some of the students here, but I have an involuntary burp reaction when people get a really good choke or neck control on me. So he's compressing my carotid artery, the arteries into my brain, and it's actually forcing air down my windpipe into my chest every time he pulls like this. So what happens is an involuntary burp because he's actually compressing air into my chest.
So that just means I know I'm doing it right.
Yep. So as I tell people there, if you burp the Johnny, you're doing it right here.
So let's do this again.
Okay.
But gack me.
Okay.
All right, let's see how it works. Because if you can't do it under pressure, is it a legitimate action? And you can't expect it to work right at the beginning. We need to practice this. Mm-hmm. I need to practice this more than I have. So he comes in, you're going to win this first one. Good. Do it again. You're going to win this one.
Okay.
And there's what we see a lot. Let's do that again. I'm going to try to grab your hand.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, bad things are going to happen to me. There's another position I want to show to you. We call this the fireball. Because we're a sword fighting school. Mm-hmm. Fantasy. Wizards. You don't get any cooler than that. Especially a wizard that swings a sword. But if you can swing a sword and throw a fireball, life's good. So our fireball position is that, where I extend my arm and I put my fingers down, so I create that line. There's our fireball for that straight line across, as opposed to creating a hook. Now, lift up your thumb. Now he's created a hook. Now he's done fireball. But that also means, because he's done a fireball, So you stab me with that arm?
This one here?
No, do that arm.
Okay.
Fireball, I'm able to create that line for him to miss me. Do it again, fireball, or stab. There's my fireball. And now I'm creating this line past my body. But he checks me and comes in. Now, I will tell you, I got hit. I got stabbed. But I got cut, not stabbed.
You got cut.
And there's a big difference between having this much blade go into my abdominal cavity and then come back out versus that much.
That much right there.
It's unpleasant, but it's most likely not going to kill me. Cover, step, turn, hip throw, cross buttocks throw. One more. Okay. Now, let's turn the face on. If I really want to make sure he doesn't get up, when I throw this cross buttocks throw, let's go slow. Okay. I just drop my knee down and just bounce his head off the concrete. Homie has a knife. I just want to make sure that he's not going to get back up and come after me. Everything in this should be to give you the opportunity to run away. Kicking their butt, killing them, destroying them, breaking them, that's not near as important as not being there. So this is what I want you to focus on. Get out of the way. Homie has a knife. All right, you do it this time.
Okay.
And then check.
Ah.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Do it there?
Yep.
All right, check.
Oh.
Now, he used a handle.
Yeah.
Because he used a handle, he gave me an advantage. He didn't throw a fireball. Ready?
Ready.
There it is. Then he steps in, and then he turns, and go ahead. And there's the throw. So, there's the first action. Next week, we're going to work, our next live stream class, we're going to work on another action, and that's a thrust. Here you go. That's a thrust straight to the belly. We've seen these kinds of things where I do this and I try to come underneath, and good luck. What we're going to do from here is we're going to shoot the hole, but then he's going to check me and stab me again. So it needs a lot more than that. Go ahead. So I come in, turn, and then as I'm here, I want to come up, turn this way. Now I find his handles again, and I throw him down. Good?
Perfect.
And this is where we're going to get into it. Let's do that again.
Sure.
Where we need to pay attention to the little things, and we're going to talk about this next week, which is the spear point. So he comes through, turn this way. I'm on top of him. He's got his hand on me, but he can still hit me with his knife. So we need to make sure not to let him do that. So I'm going to invite you to come back and join us next week. No, on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
On Saturday, this coming Saturday, for another knife class. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're all staying safe, finding ways to stay sane. California is getting closer to opening. And I just got word today that it looks like in Santa Clara County, where I'm at, the gyms should be able to open on July 13th. I'm just waiting for confirmation. Which means if we open up on July 13th, we have the ability to open up on July 13th. We're going to actually resume classes on Monday, July 20th. And until we have the opportunity to get together and train again, stay safe, stay sane. All the best to you and yours, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side of this. Take care, guys.
And you're very welcome,
Boom.
Ezekiel. Good to see y'all.
Cool.